we're going to start with a balance check before we then go to just the kick. We're going to get our levels really dialed in on the kick and the snare. And then we're going to bring in the bass, and then we're actually going to apply a limiter. Make sure that the kick, the snare are nice and punchy, even with the limiter. Make sure the bass is sitting nicely in there. Get a really nice front to back depth on those elements, and then we'll bring in the vocal and kind of everything else. Yeah, let's get into it. Meter Pro. This is just nice. It's just got everything there. Yeah, you can turn on or off True Peak, all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the gain first and do like a bit of a volume balance, mostly on the gain, region gain. And then that means that all of our faders are at unity with a nice balance. And we'll continue to kind of like tweak it from there. First of all, just have a look and see how we're doing in terms of like, are we super hot or are we okay? Pretty hot already. So this is our mix bus here. All I've done so far is pulled in the tracks and reorganized them. You can see here everything's going to bus 32, which will be our mix bus here. And then let's change the color of that. Yeah, so we're a little bit hot. Let's just pull this down. And something that I often do here is even just mute it, because I want to be maintaining perspective. The less time I spend listening to it, the better. So I can just mute and then look at the levels. So some of these were a bit hot. So like this one was up at like minus 1.2. So we can bring these down to roughly kind of like minus 5, minus 6. So that's fine. See if there's anything else. Snare's a little bit hot. Then we can start grouping these and we'll start to see if any of the groups are particularly hot, and we can do another level of gain staging at the group basis. So I'll put these in the summon stack. We've got our Vox here. Bass guitar, even though there's just one bass guitar, well, actually, we've got a bass synth, which I will move up to next to the bass guitar. Yeah. Then we've got our guitars, all the way down to here. There's a vocal there that I missed. So now I'm just making sure also at the group level we're peaking below minus 5. And to do that, obviously there aren't regions. So I've just added a gain plugin. And now all of these are going to 32. So if we unmute that now. So now what we're going to do is get a rough kind of volume balance going, just so that everything is vaguely in the right kind of spot. So let's find our lead vocal. And we can start to pan this as well so that it's resembling. So that needs to come up a lot. But we'll have to bring everything else down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight everything else except the vocal and pull it down a few dB to give us some headroom. And then there's some elements that are like kind of fighting that a lot. So once we pull those down, cutting through a lot. Cool. And then we've got some more rights and lefts here. We can pan. Left should be on top. And maybe if there's any elements that kind of make sense being halfway, we can do that, but 90% of it LCR.
One day after another, do we lie to ourselves?
So we can just pull those down as well.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another, do we lie to ourselves? Only waking up to sleep. One day after another, do we lie to ourselves?
Okay. Snare needs to come up. So now we've got kind of this problem where the snare's not loud enough, but we're already peaking. So again, we need to bring everything else down. In a sense, you could almost think of this as like prep. We haven't even gotten to kind of like the main mix yet, because sometimes you get sent a track that like the balance is already there, depending on how it was tracked, how they exported it as well, because you would have had a rough balance going with this that was probably like pretty good, and then maybe based on like how you bounce it down or something, you might have lost that. So we're kind of like redoing some of that. So it's just, yeah, and then once it's at a good level, we can kind of move on to like the framework for getting the kick and the bass and stuff. And then it just means we're going into it with like, cool, the balance is decent and everything's at unity. And then as we continue to mix, we can like grab faders and move things where we need to. And sometimes you won't need to do this part because you'll get sent a balance that already sounds half decent, and then you can just be like, cool, that's fine, like let's move on, kind of thing. So the vocal could still do with coming up a bit, so I'm going to leave that unselected and the snare unselected and bring all of that down. Maybe even more. And again, it's going to be rough because we haven't compressed yet. We haven't done any gain staging on the vocal, so we don't know where it's going to be sitting yet. So it's going to be tricky to get it like perfect. But at least now the snare's cutting through. Once we compress that, EQ it, it will cut through a lot more. But again, we're just kind of getting it in the ballpark. So once we pan all of these guitars, that's going to really help as well. So this left, well, these are a different section. So we've got left wet, oh, and right wet, okay. So we'll just use the wets for now, but the dries are there if we want them. They can definitely come down. So here, in terms of guitars, it's mostly just these two. Let's try it. Let's go to the last chorus. Those could definitely come down. There's lots going on in this last one. Chaotic shreddy noises.
Yeah, chaotic shred. Is that what it's called?
Yep. So snare, we're still losing. So let's pull everything else down even more. Let's just go for it.
There's never something more. We've done this all before. There's never something more. We've done this. There's never something more. We've done this all before. There's never something more. We've done this all before.
Pan our floor toms. Those I tend to go halfway, same with rack toms.
You're talking about pan?
Yep. Hi-hat to the right, we can go audience perspective. Although, is there even any hi-hat? So those can come up.
There's never something more. These dreary days are all leave to this world.
Let's go back to another chorus.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. To lie down, sleep.
So are you playing a crash there? So the crash, is it just in the overheads? Because we've got like a dedicated ride, but not a dedicated crash, is that right?
The crash is coming through the overheads in the room.
Okay, so that needs to come.
From the land, day to day. Only waking up to sleep. To lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change. We're only waking up to blood. Day has come and gone like days before. Day has come and gone like days before.
That vocal is still very buried there. Ah, this is the pre-chorus vocal, so we need to bring that back up.
Day has come and gone like day has come and gone like day.
Get the verse vocal.
Coffee stained ceramic, rising steam.
So I think that's basically enough for now. Again, we're not trying to get it like perfect, because once we start adding compression and a bunch of other stuff, we're going to be like constantly refining the balance. It's just a case of getting it like even 70% of the way there. We've done our balance check, we've created headroom. We know that none of the channels are peaking. Now that we've done more balancing, we can also check our subgroups again. So that's all looking good. We can probably cut this, get rid of this gain now. We don't need to be quite as aggressive. Cool. So next step is we're gonna bring in the kick, and this is where we're gonna start actually looking at the meter a lot more. So let's just bring in our drum bus, find a nice section here for the kick, maybe like second chorus. It is 140, isn't it? 140 BPM. Must be starting.
Still and silent darkness, open eyes. Still. Still and silent darkness, open eyes. Still and silent darkness, open eyes. Still and silent darkness.
Nice, I just noticed.
Oh, that. Sure.
So the main idea behind the foundation first method is managing our RMS level compared to our peak level, and making sure that we have that front to back depth where the average level of the kick and the snare are sitting nicely, but the transients are poking forward a certain amount. And if we start with that, it helps kind of reverse engineer the entire process, where we're kind of starting with the end in mind, which is we want a finished master that sounds punchy and loud. Like, this isn't the kind of thing where we need it to be ridiculously loud. It's not like a hip hop or pop track that we want to be like ultra competitive. We'll probably still get it pretty loud because I think there's quite a lot of room for like saturation and that kind of stuff that tends to really help with volume anyway. But the idea here is we're just getting that kind of depth even within the kick and the snare themselves, because we tend to think of depth as kind of three-dimensional space in the relationship between different elements in the mix. But you can have depth with one instrument as well, and it kind of, for me, that was a big shift in thinking around what is depth? How could a kick drum on its own have depth? And that's where I start to think about, again, that relationship between kind of the average level or the low end and the transient, and how much it's kind of punching out at you through the speakers. And if you imagine a kick that has less high end and less kind of a click, it sounds like it pushes it further away. So just to give you a quick example of what I'm talking about there, if we just pull down a low pass, it's almost like that has less depth, right? It's not coming out of the speakers at us as much compared to. And then when we start playing around with transients, we'll notice that even more. So that's kind of the thinking. We're starting with the end in mind, even in the mixing process, and we'll continue to mix into that limiter. So again, this is quite methodical, so we can just follow this. And for all of you guys, you can find it here in the members school group. It's just like the top one up here on the left. Mute everything except the kick, EQ and compress until it hits -0 on a stereo out VU meter and -5 dBs. So there are two numbers that we're going to be focusing on, is 0 on the VU and -5 on the dBFS. I'm going to turn off true peak for this. I go for non-true peak. We want to make sure our VU meter, whatever you're using, whether it's this SSL plugin or any VU meter, normally you can calibrate it to different levels. So we want to make sure that's set to -18. And then here we're going to be looking at our peak level, which is just regular peak. Again, you could do true peak, but I tend to not even limit to true peak. I'll just stay in regular because intersample peaking, I was reading something earlier about how Spotify's algorithm works, and if you have intersample peaking, it can actually help you be a little bit louder on platforms because it doesn't pick up on the intersample peaks. And, you know, basically, so the way the Spotify algorithm works, and a lot of these like loudness normalization algorithms, they're looking at true peak, or they won't be able to read the intersample peaking. So you can get a little bit more volume out of it. And for me, historically, it's just been a case of like looking at what is working and what my references are doing, and none of them actually limit to like minus 0.5 true peak. They all have, like a lot of like pop stuff has intersample peaking. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do that too. So I'm going to turn that off. And now we can just see where we're at. Let's turn off that that channel EQ. Let's just see where we're at right now without doing anything. This is a sample, so it's going to be a lot closer to the end goal already compared to, say, a dry recording. So we need to come up quite a lot. We might have the headroom to do that. Let's see, we also can turn off our gain here. So now we're at minus 5.1. We're a little bit hot there. So I'm actually going to pull that down and bring this up a touch. Or let's do on the drum bus, we're also cutting there, so let's turn that off. So I'm trying to bring the level of the kick up, but we've done our balance now, so I don't want to just turn up the kick too much. To be fair, it was quiet when we did that rough balance. There I was cutting gain on the subgroup and the main stereo out. Now that we kind of got our volume balance and we're bringing it up to a mastered level, I can turn those off because now we can go like really close. So now we're a little bit over on the peak and we're under on the VU. Right now we've got this running through the Neve here. So we're going channel 1 on this, and then that's going into the 1176. And we've also got a DBX, which is also can be pretty fast and grabby. I'm going to focus primarily on the 76. We could try the 160. That also can be really grabby. So this is a VCA, so you can kind of do a range of stuff. Same with the distressor. But the 1176 like is the classic drum sound. So we'll start with that. And knowing that we want to grab the transient, it's going to really help. Versus like we could use a slower attack time on the 160 because it actually kind of has a slightly slower attack. Because the problem we have right now is our transient's a little bit too loud. So the peak level is the transient. The VU level is kind of the average or the low end. So we need to bring down the transient. So we want like something fast. If we wanted more punch in the kick, which would be the opposite, bringing out the transient, then we could use like the distressor with a slower attack time because we can actually control the attack time on this. Whereas the 1176, even at the slowest attack time, is still like microseconds. It's like way below 1 millisecond. And already here, we're getting 3 dB of gain reduction. So we've got attack and release here. The go-to for an 1176 is just the slowest attack, which is all the way on the left. It's kind of the opposite of what you would expect. You know, it's not milliseconds, it's speed. So this is slowest and fastest. That's like the go-to. If there was a default, if it was a plugin and there was a default preset, that should be the default preset. Then in terms of our ratio, we can use that to...
What's that, 8:1?
Yeah. And again, we can start to play around with, okay, what we're trying to do here is reach those levels we want, but we can also kind of just get it sounding good. So that might be a bit too much. So if I want more compression, I just drive the input. It's a fixed threshold, so you just drive the input to get more compression. Well, you can also drive the output for color if you wanted to, because they're both transformers, I believe. So either, basically. But you can't really driving the input, you're going to get more compression. So if you just want color, you would have to just drive the output. So now we can try, I mean, release time isn't going to make too much difference because it's pretty quick. If we go to a slow attack, hear more of that cutting through. Sorry, that was the slow release, I mean. Just levels it out a bit. Fast attack. Slow attack, I mean, it's not a huge difference. So let's see where we're at now. So we also need to gain stage it back up. Yeah, so now we've got done the opposite. So this is without. We're losing a lot of that low end. So that's why the VU has gone down so much. Yeah, so let's try compressing less. It could also be, let's just check that we're not just losing level. So the DBX isn't doing anything, distress is bypassed, and then we've also got this channel which we can drive. So if we get that up, and then this is where we could bring in some low end. So like 35, 60. So that's 35 hertz. And then we can bring out some of that attack as well. So we could do with a little bit less transient still, but now the 1176 isn't doing anything, so let's try bringing that in now. And now we need to bring the level down. So yeah, the 1176 is like killing it. Let's try the distressor instead. And we could try a transient shaper if we can't get it working with. So now, yeah, so now we're getting closer. That was a much slower attack. So now we've got like the opposite problem. So let's just tweak. So let's tweak the attack time until we're. But now our peak is still, we still haven't controlled that peak. So I think we're going to need. That's actually doing it. So now we've like got the opposite problem. If I bring this up to -5 peak, we're like too high on the VU. So at least now we know what we need to do. We can back it off a bit. And then we can bring down the fader a bit.
What I think about it is.
Okay,
There you go.
so we did it. So what it took was nuke and a really the fastest attack on the distressor.
So just clamping down on that click
ratio.
at the top.
So it's really limiting.
It's basically limiting, yeah. But it sounds good as well, and that's the important thing, is we still want it to sound good, right? So this is, I mean, volume matching is going to be tricky. So this is our before.
You get it exactly right, but no one would ever say, no, never nuke the kick, right? So this is what I'm saying, making these obscene rules up.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So this is our before. This is our after.
Are you still on the mains or in the dungeon?
We're there with the kick. So now the next step is to bring in the snare. And this is a lot easier now. Once we've got this, we're just bringing in the snare and kind of tucking it in. It's not going to have a huge impact on the VU level, because that's going to be very influenced by low end. The snare, we're just making sure we bring it up without going beyond that -5. And we can even, it's a little bit easier if you even just solo the snare. Get it to that -5. Basically, yeah, if anything, it can come down a little bit more. And then the two together. So now I'm actually gonna, now that we've got both, I can hear that the kick is a little bit too loud. We can bring that down a little bit more. We're -4.8, so we could probably come down a little bit. And this, you really don't have to be super precise with it, but I try and actually hit the numbers. And if I've been doing it for 10 minutes and I'm within half a dB or even a dB, it's like whatever. Again, the priority is still like it should sound good. This is just kind of like a guideline, but it is also gonna, if you can hit those numbers, you're gonna be like right in the sweet spot. So I still think that kick could probably come down a little bit more. So what I'm going to do here is also mix the snare, because that is equally going to change our levels. For the snare, we're going through Let's try the distressor instead. So I'm doing the same thing on the distressor. It's slowest attack, fastest release, basically. Just to get that punch with this really fast attack, it's just too crushed. And we're doing 5 dB of gain reduction at a 4:1 ratio. And then we just need to volume match it. So we've got quite a big cut at 7K, big boost at 16 with the shelf, so that'll be extending down below 16 for sure, and then a big boost at 60 Hertz, high pass at 70. So we're kind of using the high pass and the low end at the same time to kind of tighten it up while also boosting it. So let's see where we're at now in terms of our levels. So I think snare is just way too loud now, so we can just pull that down on this fader. And we can just gain stage here, because this fader will have a transformer on it, so if we want like a bit of the saturation from it, we don't want to like pull it down too much, we can kind of drive it a touch. So instead we can just cut the level coming back into here, just to volume match it. So we've obviously gotten a lot louder, but if we pull this down, so we might have a bit too much low end in our snare, because that is now pushing the VU meter pretty hard. Bring down that high boost a touch. So there's moments there where they kind of double up and we suddenly go up to like -1.8. This is where we might want to start putting a limiter on this as well, just to catch any of those. Let's use open compressor. We can even clip it a bit. And now, something I just realized, we don't want to mess with our clip gain on either of these, because that's going to change the gain structure going into the hardware. So now if we want to nudge these up or down, we could just use the fader, but again, I like to try and keep that at unity. So we can just turn it down here. Or we can use a gain plugin. I'm going to do the same on the kick, put some clipping and limiting on that just to catch those transients again. Save this as a new default for this screen size. See where we're at now. Cool, so that gave us a little bit more headroom, so now we can bring up, I think the snare could come up a touch. Cool, yeah. Now we don't have to, it was the kick I think that was pushing that peak level. So putting the clipper and the limiter on it, we were just losing some of that transient. So instead of doing that, let's just turn that off. So I think that's fine for now. Again, we're like in the ballpark. And once we bring in the limiter, I'll probably end up messing around with the transients a little bit more. So right now we're at kind of hovering around 0. When they hit at the same time, pushing it a bit higher. And we're a little bit high on the peak, but that's where if we wanted to, we could just trim, what was it, like half a dB off there. We'll do the synth bass, and then we'll go back and we'll check the verse for the other bass. So I think that could do with so we kind of, depending on the track, we can either have the bass a little bit forward of the kick or the kick a little bit forward of the bass. I think with this, I actually like the idea of the kick being a little bit more forward because, Yeah, there's more movement, and the bass part is very, yeah, it's almost like a pad bass. So I don't know, normally with rock I tend to go the opposite. I'll actually have the bass a little bit forward of the kick, at least in the low end, and then the kick really cutting through on the like upper mids on the beater. But with this, I don't know, there's just something about that kick that I really like the sound of it. And I think that could really drive it. We might change our minds when we bring everything else back in. But let's also check the verse and get the level there. I'm just going to check references because I might be overcooking it on the low end because it sounds great in the room on these monitors, but it might be like way too much. True, but I can at least, you know, if we just... Yeah, so I've overcooked it already, and you can see reference here is showing me that I'm way higher in the low end. So this is why it's always good to check either Paz Analyzer, obviously here. Yeah, it's showing you how much higher you are in comparison. So we're way, again, it's like take it with a pinch of salt because we could just bring those elements down. When we bring everything else in, it's going to change that balance. But I'm right now just focusing on,
Sort of absolute.
yeah, and it's just, I don't know if we need to necessarily do anything yet. It's just a data point. Because that bass now sounds pretty thin compared to the amount of low end we've got on the kick. I think, yeah, we'll have to come back to that when everything else is in. Let's focus on this chorus here. So this is where we are now going to bring in the limiter. I think limiter now simplifies it a little bit because then you can focus just on these three elements that we've got rather than also adding the complexity of a vocal. This is crazy what this does. It's
What's it called?
Leapwing Limit 1. That's weird that it's, oh, I've got 1 dB on the mix bus for some reason. So we're already at -8 short term. We want to bring it up to between like -9 to -11. So we're actually we're already a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're retaining a lot of that punch. Yeah, sounds good. I don't feel like we're really losing anything there. So now we can bring in the vocal.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put.
So we've run out of hardware channels. What I'll probably do when we have lunch is print the kick and the bass.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll switch over to some mixed bus processing. But for now, I'm just gonna just start getting some compression on this vocal. So I'm gonna do a little bit of limiting, kind of like recreating that classic chain of like an 1176 or a fast compressor going into an LA2A. With open compressor, you can do that all in one. Just using the limiter instead of an 1176 as that kind of fast. It's a similar thing, right? It's just we want something like fast to shave off those transients.
From the land, day to day, only waking up.
And I can turn off makeup and I can basically look,
From the land,
see what transients I want to grab and like move the threshold line.
from the land, day to day, only.
And let's just make sure the compressor's not doing anything.
So you're on the limiter now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to set the limiter first.
From the land,
So I can just kind of eyeball it.
from the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
So that's all I want. I don't want it to be like constantly engaging, just like some of these louder peaks here that's cutting like 1.5 dB. This line is 3 dB, so we're like halfway there. I mean, if that. So we're just shaving off like a decibel and some of those louder ones. We probably go a little bit more.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
And then we can bring in the compressor, and I'm going to use optical because I just love the sound of an LA2A on vocals. RMS, because I could also use the preset, but I've adjusted these now. But basically, to recreate like an LA2A, put it in optical mode, that changes the attack and release to act like an optical compressor and also gives it the memory effects that optical compressors have. So because it's a light turning on and off, if there hasn't been any gain reduction for a while, it's a slower attack time because the light has to turn back on. If there's like lots of active gain reduction happening, then the fast time's quicker because the light's already on. So that recreates that, but we can still change the other settings. So for example, if you want, you can have like an LA2A in feed forward mode, which would be like a snappier LA2A. But for like the classic LA2A sound, we'll go feedback RMS. So it's looking at more of like an average window. And then this is like gonna be our kind of workhorse here. And I tend to go, especially with this kind of music, quite aggressive with it, like 6 to 10 dB of gain reduction. We can also put this in auto threshold so that in the verses, it's doing just as much gain reduction. So we maintain that tone. Although having said that, I think we've got separate, this is split out into verse chorus. So we might not even need that. But auto would ride the level so that in the verses when it's quieter, it's still applying the same amount of gain reduction. We might not need that in this case because it's already split out.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Is life on the same page?
So it's sounding, yeah, it's already quite, it's already a little bit harsh. I feel like it could use warmth more than it could use brightness. So I'm going to be careful with that saturation. Opening it up a little bit, which is nice. We could even use this tone control if we wanted to, just to like darken it up a bit, just a touch. You can see it just, yeah, it just, we'll see. Maybe when we bring everything else in, it might not need it. I do feel like that's helping. And then we can get some de-essing in there already. So what I'm actually going to use the Weiss de-esser instead, I think, and have it doing, instead of just clamping down on the sibilants, I'm going to make it so that it's kind of like constantly managing that top end. So you can see that's just kind of like constantly doing it. Cool, so now we're going to have a break in a second, but I want to see how it's sounding when I bring in a couple more elements. We haven't EQ'd the vocal yet, really. I mean, we have done a little bit just on open compressor, darkening it up. But before we go for a break, just for fun, I want to bring in a couple of elements just to see kind of where we're at. Let's do drums, vocal, and bass, and let's bring in the two main guitars, which are like here and here. There's still some phrases getting lost in the vocal, so we might need to So yeah, there's an interesting like arrangement thing we've got here, and maybe when we bring in all the synths, it'll fix it. But we're missing kind of upper mid-range, basically, because of the 8-string guitars. And yeah, do the synths cover a lot of that, or is it, there's some pads and stuff? Cool. So we'll start to bring that in. But you can see already, like compared to we're not actually that far off now in terms of like, that would be more than acceptable, like, and it sounds. it's getting a bit too dark. So let's
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Tumbling on our way, only waking up to breath. Is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Tumbling on our way, only waking up to breath. Is life on the
It's a tricky vocal. I think we might need some multiband compression to basically manage those.
From the land, day to day,
There's certain notes where that like,
The held out.
yeah, exactly. The
from the land, day.
and we might want to do some multiband compression, maybe like kind of seek and destroy a little bit more rather than soothe, or maybe in addition to soothe, like actually do the old like sweep and then like notch. In addition to some multiband compression, so that it's kind of like constantly kind of managing it rather than like a static EQ, which I think in this case could be a little bit too blunt or like. And I think that the main kind of, again, it can just be ballpark. Like the main premise is basically just making sure your transients compared to the low end is managed properly. That's really it. And then also the balance between the instruments, and then bringing that limiter in for the stress test. But now we're already.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
The cool thing is we're already at -8. Like it's already, I can tell that this is going to be easy to get loud if we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Because we're not even like clipping. We're not doing any clipping on the master. Like once we do like some clipping, some serial limiting, we'll be able to get this like -7 like ridiculously easily. But if we wanted to, we could go harder.
Are you talking lofts?
Lofts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, this is the kind of track, a little trick that I've figured out recently, kind of by accident. The last event that we did in Vegas, that track I ended up using Decapitator on the whole mix because we wanted it to have this like kind of gritty, crunchy, like old school grungy sound, and it basically sounded too clean. So we just put Decapitator on the whole mix, but then the master ended up being like -4 with like hardly any limiting because of the saturation. And this, this is in that kind of ballpark where if we wanted to really push it, we could play around with that. So yeah, we've got a kick print now and a snare print. So I just set this to record, created a new channel, set it to record arm, recorded the output of the channel we have, and moved the plugin we had over to this new channel. So that if we want to make any tweaks on the open compressor, we can. So now we've got the chorus vocals. To be fair, we could also put this on the pre-chorus because they kind of alternate, so we could send both of those to the same chain.
And the reeling from the droning.
And in fact, we could take these three here, create a new summing stack, lead, vox, move these plugins. We just need to be careful of our gain structure, but it looks, everything's at Unity, right? That's it. But that would be post fader anyway. So then we can just move this over here. So we've already got our compression, some de-essing, soothe. Now we could run this through the channel EQ, but as we were saying before, it probably needs something a little bit more nuanced, surgical,
Only waking up to sleep.
I mean, we can try. Because the channel EQ might, sometimes running through like outboard, it can smooth it out anyway, because you start running it through transformers and let's see, like tube, although we don't have anything that's really tube. It's all solid state.
They have a Fairchild you can wheel in just for.
Well, we have got a Pultec here. I could ask him to reroute it to the Pultec. That could be a good idea.
Yep.
And we've also got the GML, the Massenberg, which I think is solid state. But the Pultec's definitely tube. So that might be a good idea if anyone sees him. But we can get this going. So that should be on.
Only waking up, sleep.
And then we also need to disable this.
Only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day.
Not AI. AI doesn't have to bleed.
So we could put a little bit of 1176 on there.
Coffee stained ceramic, rising steam.
What we could do actually is we can move this to the start of the chain, because it's kind of weird to go on the open compressor we're doing like LA2A style. Normally you would want to go fast first.
Right, to catch the.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just kind of doesn't work as well the other way around. So we can move this to the start of the chain, and then we just want to, I'll leave this open so we can keep an eye on it.
Only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves?
But now if we also,
thinking anything will ever change.
so now the thing we need to be aware of is obviously that's going to change our level going into the compressor. So
page after page, another dreary day.
same thing, slowest attack, fastest release.
Streaks of coffee, stained ceramic, rising steam, flee from the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Is life on the same page after
So now I was using the output on that to then control the amount of gain reduction. But now we're a lot quieter. So that probably means our level going to the de-esser. Ideally we would have done this all before. I should have printed the kick and the snare, then done this, because we're kind of like backtracking a little bit here, but it's fine.
from the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Is life on the same page after page?
So right now I'm boosting the top end a little bit at like 16K. And there I ended up boosting a little bit at like 110 to give it some body. Cutting the mud and also trying to cut the high mids just wasn't really working. So I think we can kind of use the channel EQ for our like highs and lows, which also we could have done with Poltec, and if he comes back, maybe we will.
What group are you working on?
This is just on the lead vocal, so it's split into channels.
You've seen this all before.
And that, we're gonna have to do some different,
Every day
because in this lower register,
with a night, you've
like some kind of proximity effect stuff going on. Whereas in the chorus,
selves thinking anything.
we've got kind of the opposite problem. So let's just see if this is, I'm gonna solo now because like we're doing stuff that's a bit more surgical.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever?
Let's try just some like Pro Q.
Is that 3 or 4?
4.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put.
So all kind of around here, this whole area here, we could probably just,
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change?
then we lose the presence.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie? Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day, only.
I think Suve's doing a better job. We might just need to be a little bit more aggressive with it. Maybe try de-ess it after Soothe.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking? Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
You can kind of see, it's interesting, if you look at the waveform, so if I pull this to the end,
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
you can kind of see when it becomes more like a sine wave, where it's like the throat kind of constricts, which is very, it's very natural, it's kind of unavoidable. But I think Soothe is helping a lot there. So let's try.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Fumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day has come and gone like days before. Day from the land, day to day, only ever change. Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day has come and gone like days before. Day from the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumble
So I think I like the sound of the
from
channel.
the
I like-
land, day to day.
So far, I think I prefer the sound of the channel EQ, but let's A/B.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day.
Where you going?
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life on the same page after page? Another dreary.
It's a tricky one.
From the land, day to day.
So to compare, although we've kind of messed with the gain, so it's going to be hard to A/B.
From the land, day to day. From the land, day to day. From the land, day.
It's definitely helping, but we're still.
Can we try it maybe with the rest of the mix too?
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? From the land, fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking? Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
Oh yeah, I got rid of that.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to. And is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day.
So try this, 'cause this is in parallel.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
No.
I was gonna say, clarifying, that's a bold move.
Well, it's kind of like,
That's called de-essing.
so if we can open up the very top end, it might
I
help.
see what you're trying to do. You're opening it up, right?
Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Fumbling day.
I feel like it's better without any process.
Fumbling day to day.
Right, 'cause some of the
only
processing
waking-
accentuates it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good without it.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
So that's,
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Fumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to.
I just thought it could be because we're compressing it so much, as those words are tailing off on the sustain, it's like really bringing it up.
It's releasing. Right?
Fumbling day to day, only.
Yeah, you can see it there.
Fumbling day to day.
Make the release longer, or like automation,
No.
or just like a lot less.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we
That's what's doing it. So let's try.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Fumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Is life on the same page after pain?
It's tricky. I mean, let's try Arvox.
It
That
sounds like
could.
it's mainly on that work way.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's really pushing compressor switch.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
It's any compression.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
Still, because we want like, it's almost like we kind of want like macro dynamic control, otherwise certain words are getting lost, but the micro dynamics are bringing out the tail of those words too much. Just like, I would just at least give an example.
Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Fumbling day to day, only. Fumbling day to day, only waking. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling.
We can still have more of that la 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 la, so you kind of hear the word.
Fumbling day to day, only. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Fumbling day to day. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Fumbling day to day, only waking up. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves? Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
Anyway, you get the idea. That's what it needs. Just like meticulous going through, making so like these first two words, making sure they cut through.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
And it's basically, it's a tracking thing or like a performance thing. I don't, what mic did you use?
This was probably modded MXL.
There's something about the, yeah, it's like, in terms of the performance as well, kind of like, from the land, you kind of
Kinda
swell
digs
them
in.
up,
Yeah.
but then it's also, from the land, it kind of
off
goes
that.
up in the larynx.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of tightening it up too much.
yeah, which is also kind of like, when you get more like into it, can happen anyway. But yeah, in a studio environment, thinking about like that kind of stuff makes a huge difference. I mean, I'm not like a vocal coach, but yeah, or like figuring out where to like place your voice and that kind of stuff would probably make a big difference. Because is it mid voice for you, or it sounds like it could be like kind of mixed voice.
It's mixed, yeah.
Yeah. So then the risk with mixed voices, it does get into that kind of
Nasally kind of.
yeah. From the land. You could probably like move it low, depending on if that's in your range or not, or into like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
A vocal coach would,
Need to work on.
would know
Yeah, that's
about
something
that.
I haven't done yet. I need to.
Fumbling day to day, only waking up.
But for now, like yeah, if I was mixing this, I would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to sit and do this for a couple of hours. I don't think there's anything else, because it's kind of like, what we actually want to do is like the inverse of what a compressor does.
An expander? No.
Yeah, which is interesting. We want this phrase to be kind of the same as like this phrase here.
Waking up to sleep, do we lie to ourselves?
It still needs compression in that like we do need to reduce the dynamic range, but it's almost like, how do we reduce the dynamic range without
Accentuating.
Yeah, and like the slow release could be the answer. Well, that would do. I mean, that we could like catch the peaks, but maybe it's either like a compressor that's really slow or something that's so fast that it's only getting the peaks and then not bringing out those, you know, those phrases.
Waking up to sleep, do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Waking up to sleep, do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put.
Better than compression.
It actually works pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Waking up to sleep, do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Waking up to sleep, do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only.
And that is that. Does it start to like? Is that clipping a little bit?
To put is life on the same page after page, another dreary.
So let's try switching it so that our hardware is after.
Only waking up to put. And is life on the same page after page, another dreary day. Only waking up to put. Only waking.
I think there's. I mean, we could definitely just bring that down. Could also have a look at what's going on. That's all just kick and snare.
That's your limiter, right?
Yeah.
fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do
Tricky, because if we clear up the mud, it brings out the...
fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life all the same, page after page? Another dream. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life all the same, page after page? Another dream. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking?
Let's see, let's compare to your... Did you end up saturating it quite a lot on yours?
Not what? On the mix?
Huh?
On the mix?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Everyone out there, 'cause wanted to breathe. Day to day, do we lie? Thinking anything will ever change. On our way.
But normally, if you had a client, you might have a rough mix or a demo mix.
Yeah.
So it's... so yeah, I mean, that's the other thing that you did was... have we even brought in all of the BVs and stuff?
Fumbling day to day, only waking up to
So maybe it's treating it more like a gang vocal.
fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to fumbling day to day, only waking up to fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves? Fumbling day to day, only fumbling day to day, fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking
This is where it might be helpful to start clearing up some mud and everything else. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, we need to turn off level match because we're limited now, so. So this is where I'd be tempted, I mean,
What are you cutting some?
just mud. There's just lots of mud. I'm just trying to get everything else right, and then it might help
Clear out some space.
and also kind of give some direction for what to try next with the vocal. Because sometimes,
There was a lot of stuff in the like 200 to 500 range.
yeah, it's like everything's a bit muddy, and in terms of the arrangement, we could use more upper mid-range. So it was just doing that on the guitars and the synth. And sometimes when you get really stuck on one thing, sometimes you have to fix everything else around it. To either kind of give you a perspective reset or just like do something else for a bit, but also that then might address the issue. To the beginning.
And silent darkness, still and silent darkness, open. Still and silent darkness, open eye. Shaded windows block the daylight that drove away the night. You've seen this all before. Every day you drag your feet across this floor.
We could always copy that over.
Still and silent darkness, open eye. Still and silent darkness. eyes, open eyes. Shaded windows block the daylight that drove away the night. You've seen this all before. Across this floor, and every night they stumble back once more. Feeling every day's been done before. Across this floor, and every feeling every day's been done before. Feeling every day's been done before. It's the feeling every day's been done before. Reeling from the droning and the bore. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves? Waking up to sleep. Do we lie? Do we lie to one day after another? Do we lie to our Do we lie to ourselves? Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking anything will ever change. Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking anything will ever change. Jump on bed on our way, only waking up to one in front of the other. Is life on the same page after page? Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking anything.
I'm going to send the lead vocal, and this is going to mess with the level a bit, but I'm going to send that straight to the mix bus so that this vocal bus then becomes like everything else. But yeah, I need slightly different processing on them both. This can copy.
Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking. Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking anything will ever change. Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking anything will ever change. Nothing ever really changed. On our way, only waking up to put one foot in front of the other. Is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day.
And then this Pro L, I'm going to move to that channel.
Do we lie to ourselves? Thinking anything will ever change. Jump on bed on our way, only waking up to one in front of the other. Is life on the same page after? Shaded windows block the daylight from the droning and the bore. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
then we've got gain automation, volume automation on that. So let's just bring this down actually and bring these up.
That drove away the night. Reeling from the droning and the bowl. Day only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Jump on bed on our way there, 'cause it's getting
Damn, those tracks are all loud. I don't know if this is turning them up. Got level match turned off.
me down. Pretty Northeastern ceramic, rising steam, bleeding ghosts, empty echoes in the kitchen, lonely morning toast. See the dust dance in the sunlight, golden glitter of the land, day to day on the sleep. One day after another, thinking to ourselves, never change. I feel like, I feel like in front of the other. It's life on the same page after.
Still quite a bit of mud at this point. We could also try something like this, because we've already done some cutting on the drum bass, on the vocal bass, everywhere, and often with mud it's like you can kind of address it in multiple stages. You're addressing it on the individual channels, on the group buses, and then also on the mix bus. But I think it's also just, yeah. just kind of playing around with it to see tonally what seems to work, because then we can always go back, and once if something works on the mix bus, you could then kind of think, okay, what is it that's causing that, and then go back and like address it at the source. Another way would be like playing around with Pro Q and listening to the different bands. I think I probably overdid it a little bit with the channel EQ on the kick, and that's adding a lot of kind of cloudiness. I don't know why the references are. It's like they're getting turned up. Okay, I don't think we're too bad actually. Okay, so we've got 4 buses set up for the reverb.
Okay.
We're going to do a short reverb, a long reverb, and then like a slapback stereo delay, and then like a timed echo.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
That sounds quite nice for a long reverb.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
So I used to use a lot of the 7th Heaven stuff, which is basically the same as what's in Verb Suite.
From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep.
So we can have this vocal room. Yeah, and then I liked the sound of this plate.
Already.
From the land, day to day. From the land, day to day. From the land, day to day. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie? From the land, day to day. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Day after day. From the land, day to day. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? From the land on our way, only waking up to burn. Is life on the same page after?
So something like that, we definitely don't want, because you can hear how that really accentuates that kind of harshness. We want basically the opposite. We want something that's really scooped.
From the land, day to day, only change. Tumbling on our way, only way.
Let's try something else. Let's use Seventh Heaven. Oh, actually, let's try Lustrous Plates. I didn't use this this time. I have like a lot of reverbs that I'll just, again, it's like the same way you might have snare samples. You're like, oh, let me dig into that folder. I haven't looked at that for a while. It's just trying stuff out.
Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change?
I think a plate's a bit too thick. I want something like, again, more scoops. Yeah, I think a hull is going to be.
Those are good plates though.
That's usually my mnemonic for thinking of, like, plates are usually a lot more warm and kind of full.
Like narrow, like mid-range centric,
Like
yeah.
hulls will be a little bit scooped and a little
Yep,
bit more.
totally.
Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
I want to brighten it up, so I'm going to, like, generally the vocal could do with a bit more brightness, so I'm thinking like, yeah, like a bright hull kind of thing. So let's look for something that's called Bright Hull, which must exist.
Tumbling day to day, only waking.
Actually, something that's really good at bright is like Pro R.
Tumbling day to day. Tumbling day to day, only waking. Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Tumbling on our way, only waking up to put. Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything?
Let's try the Lexicon.
Use that.
I do like the Lexicon. This could be the one.
Tumbling.
I already know that's the one.
I usually reach for the lexicon when I want it to kind of melt into the track a little bit more.
Yeah.
Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Tumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life all the same, page after page? Another dreary day has come and gone. Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Tumbling on.
So then we could do our slapback. Been really liking the Stellar Echo recently.
Tumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Tumbling.
I need to build my own presets for this. So
Tumbling day to day, sleep? Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life all the same, page after page? Another dreary day has come and gone like days before. And days stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And is life all the same, page after page? Another dream. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves? Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep.
It just has this really like organic sound that a lot of others don't. Repeat could come down a little bit.
Stumbling day to day, stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to us? Stumbling day to day, stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to us?
Something like that. And then for the LV Echo, we could just do something like Echo Boy, or even Echo Boy Junior. I like to keep this simple because we're just looking for something down the middle.
Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie? Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put.
A breakdown at the bridge. So now we can kind of balance those. Also, we could just use those on like, just to save time, you can do the whole bucket method where this is just for our lead vocal and then we use something different in our BVs, but this we're going to treat it more like a gang vocal rather than like a really prominent lead vocal. So we'll just use those same ones here, on the vocal bus as well. And then we'll use a different reverb for like our snare and maybe something different for like guitars, but it'll be pretty subtle. So now let's kind of get a bit of a blend going.
Thinking anything will ever change, stumbling on our way, only waking up to put one foot. Stumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep, one day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Nothing ever really changed. Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put one foot in front of the other. Is life all the same, page after page? Stumbling day to day, only still and silent darkness.
Wow,
That bass
that's
is
really
hot.
buried.
Still and silent darkness, open eyes. Shaded windows block the daylight that drove away the night. You've seen this all before. Every day you've dragged your feet across this floor, and every night they stumble back once more. Feeling every day's been done before. Reeling from the droning and the bore. From the land day to day, only way. Still and silent. Still and silent darkness, open eyes. Shaded windows block the daylight that drove away the night. You've seen this all before. Every day you've dragged your feet across this floor, and every night they stumble back once more. Feeling every day's been done before. Reeling from the droning and the bore. From the land day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking we'll never change? Jumping on our way, only waking up to put reeling from the droning and the bore. From the land day to day, only waking up to sleep.
I wonder if we could just saturate the crap out of it.
And the reeling from the droning and the bore. From the land day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, put one in front of the other. Is life on the same page after page? Another dreary day. Reeling from the droning and the bore. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Jumbling on our way, only waking up to blood. And the reeling from the droning and the bore. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And the reeling from the droning and the bore. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put. And the reeling from the droning and the bore. Fumbling day to day, only waking.
Yeah. Worth a try. Get rid of all these plugins that I've tried.
Reeling from the droning and the bore. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Jumbling on our way, only waking up to put one foot in front of the other. Is life all the same page after page? Another dreary day. Reeling from the droning and the bore. Fumbling day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another. Do we lie to ourselves, thinking anything will ever change? Stumbling on our way, only waking up to put in front of the other. Is life on the same page after?
Let's get some other spaces going and then we can kind of come back to that. So, snare.
Reeling from the droning and the bore.
The drum sounds sick. I'm happy with the drum sound.
Replace them?
So I'm probably just going to do a long
That's how you get the cymbals to actually.
on the
have something to
snare.
match up.
Let's try Valhalla.
Even slightly.
Try the lexicon. Generally, I like my snare reverbs to be quite bright. Why is it peaking? There's something.
What's speaking?
References. Might actually give them their own space as well. Just they're getting a bit, it's all kind of blending together a bit much. So we can call these
That's what I'm saying.
EV
That
long.
decision there, right, to divide them out, that's the thing that gives it that touch.
Oh, and then I just remembered none of these are going to the mix bus. I'm really bad at remembering that. It's a weird one because we're trying, the lead vocal is still a lead vocal, but we're trying to kind of blend it all together. But I just think it could benefit from having a slightly, the space sounded a little bit too thick on the backing vocals because there were more of them. So just like a maybe like a slightly thinner, less rich reverb
Okay.
Yeah.
could do better. Too much overhead. Already that sounds a bit better. So yeah, and a part of it I guess is using a bunch of different reverbs. That's what gives you not just different settings within the same reverb, but like different reverbs will give you all of the, that helps you with the separation between them. So I'm just going to use the drum, hold on, which short? I have a lead vocal short. I'm going to create another like generic short. And then this can be,
or a short.
yeah, because sometimes it's overkill, like creating a short and a long for the synth and a short and a long for the guitars. Instead I'll have one kind of global short that if I want to kind of push anything back and give it a sense of space without giving it a tail, I can just use that global short, and then I can give each of them their own like long tail, and again that will help with the kind of separation. Some of this is, it starts to get into a point where it's like, is this kind of overkill having this many? But let's see, so now we've got like a generic short that we can use. Synth long.
That now. Around that area.
Let me try vintage verb again. That's cool.
Still and so still and silent darkness.
To be fair, a lot of the synths are already drenched in reverb, so we might not even
Pretty
need.
wet.
It's not really making that much difference. Might even just turn it off.
Like golden glitter in the air that surrounds you, compounds your every care. Got the chance to act this silent play. Front again in front of a better day. From the land day to day, only waking up to sleep one day after another. To lie to us every care. Got the chance to act this silent.
There's little touches we can do, like the. We can just like give that a little bump,
Just one mic.
so they just come in more impactful.
Got the chance to act this silent play. Front again in front of a better day.
It's supposed to be left, right.
He's got like the one break pad. We got to just pull it dry for a second.
Yeah.
And then bring it back.
That'd be.
Got the chance to act this silent play. Front again in front of a better day. From the land day to day, only
Let's do a before after of what we have so far spatially.
got the chance to act this silent play. Front again in front of a better day.
So you can hear how it is a lot more in your face with nothing, and that is a sound you might want. I saw something recently about the Weezer track, Say It Ain't So, literally has 0 reverb on it. Like they mix it on a desk with like no reverb. So that is like a sound
That dry.
in your face, and like as soon as I turn this on, notice how it does all kind of get further away, but that also creates kind of that 3-dimensional sound.
Got the chance to act this silent play. Front again in front of a better day.
Especially as pushing the vocals back, but that's kind of what we want to do. Just again to kind of mask some of that harshness and those like resonances. So the only thing we haven't done yet is guitars. I think I'm just going to use the short rim on those. I like short rim on guitars. wonder if the synth bass probably doesn't need any. Cool, let's do a quick reference check.
Away from me.
So we maybe still a little bit high on the low end, but I kind of like that sometimes. So that's interesting. Have you got quite a lot of mix bus compression on that?
I think so, yeah. It's also mastered.
Right. Yeah, and to be fair, we haven't done any. I mean, we can get into that now.
Are you gonna do any? Do you do bus compression before you take it to the bounce for master, or
Nope.
no?
Unless I have a reason to.
Okay.
I mean, I have done a lot of bus processing. EQ. The only thing I've done with synths is on a bus, guitars on a bus. I don't want to do any clipping. So again, it depends on the goal. If I wanted like the loudest master possible, then maybe I could do some clipping on the kick and the snare, but we already got those transients really nice when we did the foundation first. So clipping would be kind of the antithesis of that. So it's going to really like dull the transients. And I mean, we're already like pretty competitive. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, I guess we're not. Let's get into it now. So we don't have any compression. So let's start with some compression. We could go, well, let's use open compressor. And then we could either use a mixing preset like an API or an SSL, or we could do something like mastering, like a Manly Very. To grab that. Who was that? This sounds so dry. They might need some reverb. Those could actually use a bit less.
Turns morn to evening and the sands of time go by. Still I see no front of better days. From the land, day to day, only waking up to sleep. One day after another, to lie to ourselves, thinking.
Tonally, I'm not sure we even need anything. Let's
pretty beefy.
make this. Just opening up the sides with some top end and a bit more saturation on the side, and then a little bit of top end down the middle, actually bringing out more of that grit. And in fact, we could probably emulate that on the sides. Because thinking about it, we probably don't want a ton of it needs more upper mids, but in the middle we've got a lot of the vocal, which we need to be careful with upper mids on that. Otherwise, it's going to be adding upper mids to the snare, and there's not much else down the middle that has higher frequency content. Just adding it to like the snare and the vocal, so we probably want to be careful with that. Whereas this, that's opening up the guitars even more. Sometimes this works really well on the stereo bus. It has like this crazy box tone. Just turning it on. But it's doing some pretty aggressive scooping, so it doesn't always work. but sometimes like I'll
Yeah,
just
it's
chuck
just
it on.
doing nothing, right? You're just,
I haven't
passing it through it?
Literally, yeah. So that's the curve.
that's what's getting
Just from
passed through.
turning it on. It's weird, isn't it? It's like a serrated knife or something. Like, it's so random. I don't know why. Maybe it has got something. No, see, I don't even think it has anything to do with like the bands, because this is 160 hertz. Oh yeah, maybe it is. This is 38 or 40. Okay, yeah. So look, it's each of these bands, even at unity. So at 40 we get a bump. At 160 we get a bump. At 2.5 we get a bump. Or what's that? 700. Oh yeah, 650. So each band.
And then a shelf up at the top there.
And the shelf, like even when they're at 0, but then if you cut just by 1 notch, you don't get, it's definitely not
No,
flat
it's not
either.
very subtle at all.
So
Everything moves.
everything's
They
just
call
kind of
that-
out
they
of
call that
whack.
musical EQ, right?
It's a musical.
But the location of the bands is quite nice. Like it is just pleasing. I mean, for the most part, it's just kind of like opening up that top end, and then you can also just give it a little bump. But it's cool. It's a great little. I'm gonna get the 500 series. I think I like what it's doing. And then we could do, I mean, we've already got some saturation on the open compressor, but we could also try some like tape emulation. Again, something that just quite aggressively scoops, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's like the Slate Digital virtual tape machine. Again, just turning it on. I'll show you that as well. So we ended up doing something like this, and then you've got like this air band, which even when it's set to 40k, that's why it's so nice, because you only get like the edge of the slope, because the actual peak is all the way up at like 40k. So you can see virtual tape machine again, like literally just turning it on. Does this big cut at like 9k, this weird thing down here. I mean, this is at like 40 hertz. And then if you turn down the input, it's a little bit less aggressive. And then yeah, as you push it, it becomes like more aggressive. Oh, there you go, slowing down the speed from 30 to 15, kind of shift. If anything, that's probably a little bit more subtle. That shifts it tonally. And that's just EQ. If we look at the harmonics, we'll see, yeah, like the second and third orders come up. So yeah, again, it can sound really good, but it's like even just putting it on is pretty drastic. It works though. So what we can do is actually, a little trick is just putting this on all the subgroups instead of the mix bus. Like this, because it kind of gives them all a bit of separation. And again, we just need to be aware of how much like kind of scooping that's doing. Sounds pretty good. It's just more scooping and a little bit of saturation. So let's see where we're at now. Minus 9.5, so we're still like a little bit short. What we could now do, I mean, there's a lot we could do. It's just a case of what does it actually need. I think it's sounding like pretty good. The last thing now is just volume. We could clip into the limiter, that would give us more volume, but again, that's going to mess with our transients on the kick and the snare, and I like how they're sounding. The other option is like serial limiting. So we've already got our final limiter, but we could do a little bit of multiband limiting with Elevate. And I don't even like, I won't even go into the bands here, because you can change it, and if you want, you can like do transient enhancement per band and that kind of stuff. But I tend to just come here, set the output auto, is that it? Set that to like -0.5, and then just push it into the limiter a little bit. It's already a bit too much. I don't like that. Okay, never mind. We can also do like serial limiting, so we could do something like ozone maximizer going into the limit one, because the limit one is weird. It's like, it's not actually like a limiter. It's doing some weird stuff under the hood. So it's not just like a bog standard limiter. It's doing some weird stuff. So sometimes combining that with more of a standard limiter, and we can try the different IRC modes on like maximizer. I quite like the crisp mode from like IRC3, but we can just play around.
Is that from 12 or 11?
12.
This is 12, but IRC3 is from like 10. 12 where it is on like IRC5, but they're all quite different. So we can try all of them. Hold on, because this is just pushing us more into... Hold on. We need to go after limit one, otherwise... So because I was adding a limiter before the existing limiter, so this limit one is adding 10 dB of drive, because we were at like -10, so I had to add 12 dB. So then I was putting a limiter before that, bringing it up to 0.5, and then adding another 12 dB.
Smashing it and
Yeah.
re-smashing it.
So I'll put it afterwards instead. I could change the amount of drive I'm doing in limit one, but I think it's better if I just...
Be ready for a break.
Yeah, maybe.
You're going for a separate mastering process after this, right?
No.
This is your master right here on your 2-bus.
Yep.
Okay.
Because if a client sends me mix notes, I just find it a lot easier to have it all in one project, go in and make my changes. I don't have to export it, import it to my mastering project, export it again. And also when we're doing the foundations first method with the limiter early on, it's like, I mean, technically it's kind of already mastered in a sense. I'm now doing like there's an argument that some of this is like mixed bus processing, but it's like, where do you draw the line between mixed bus processing and mastering? It's kind of, right, and it all starts to blur together when you're mixing and mastering something yourself. Very different if someone sends you something to master, but if you're working on your own music and you're mixing and mastering itself, or you have a client that you're mixing for, and I recommend if you're doing that, you also offer the mastering, basically. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's helpful to do that, to kind of draw a line in the sand, take off your mixing hat, put on your mastering hat. But personally, I do it all in one project now, especially with the limiter early on. I don't like that either. I think all I'm going to do is just drive limit 1 a bit harder. But there's some weird pumping happening there. I'm going to bring down the kick a bit because it's really pushing. So notice how just turning down the kick brought us up.
Right.
Like just another dB, well, sorry, another loudness unit. Let's try the last chorus. So that went up to -7.5. We were basically there. That's competitive enough. I mean, you can push it more than that. But yeah, that has given me more, I like limit 1 even more now. It just sounded really open compared to the others. Like as soon as I put ozone on there, it sounded like it kind of folded in a bit more two-dimensional, whereas limit 1 sounded nice and open. So this was no mix, or like mix bus processing, whatever you call it, mastering. Which actually perceived loudness on that is higher if we bring in all of our changes. So we brought up the lows a little bit more even. We could also, if we wanted a bit more loudness, we could back that off, just this move here. It's getting a bit busy there as well. We haven't spent much time on this last chorus. So these.
Yeah, this is easily the busiest part of the song, in terms of.
there's never something more done this all before. Seems there's never something more done this all before. These dreary days are all lead to this goal.
Sorry. Anyway, I'm just finessing now. I'd maybe play around with that compressor a little bit more, try something more like SSL style. I think could be better.
Like a G-bus kind of.
Yeah, which is basically just more like a fast forward. That's better. So let's do another AB. I'm curious how that ended up compared to the rough. Let's maybe go back here. Yeah, so interesting.
Sounds great.
I think if you had gone a little bit less mix bus compression, it would actually be quite similar.
Yeah.
And also like a little bit lower bass level.
Yeah.
That was another big difference that I could hear.
The overall kind of tonalness of the mixes is
It's
very
like
similar.
surprisingly similar, yeah.
In silent darkness, open arms, shaded wine, shaded window with a night that drove us all before. You've seen this all before. Across this floor, and every night across this floor, and every night it's the feeling it's the feeling the
Interesting. Should we listen to Jake's as well? Bit quieter.
Lost a lot of it. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to really.
still and silent.
Huh?
The drums on your mix are a lot more thunderous than
Like the
Jay's.
drums,
It's the foundation first.
Yeah.
It's the kick.
yeah,
Yeah.
makes a difference.
For sure.
The bass.
It's amazing, right?